Alright, easy.
Jeez. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of Zero Plus. I'm Zero,
And I'm Plus.
and this makes this is the concept that we came up with while we're here in Athens. I wanted to kick things off with explaining why this came about. So, Alex came to visit me while I'm here in Athens, and we originally decided to spend 2 days together, having expansive conversations. And what came out of it was you extended your stay by another
3 days.
because there wasn't enough space to keep talking about it.
There wasn't enough space to expand.
That's funny.
We needed more.
When we had this conversation with, let's talk about what happened with Sarah. I'll let you tell the story.
Yeah, so on what was it, Saturday? Yeah, Saturday we did some walking around Athens. We hit like a couple of sites, and we were talking about all this kind of stuff. And as we were walking back down the hill, we saw this girl was set up with a tripod and a camera, and she was like trying to film herself or take photos or stuff. So we said, "Do you want us to come and help you?" And she was like, "Oh, yes, please, yes, please." So we went over to her and we just started chatting to her and asking like, "What are you doing? Like, you got your camera set up?" And I asked her, "Is it like for some sort of video vlog or something?" She said, "Yeah, like I'm what did she say? I'm like a travel lifestyle or something. I'm
Fitness
influencer, influencer, vlogger, like content creator." So we just started chatting to her about, like, asking her about her life, what she does. She's like living in Athens for 6 months, working in a call center, was it? And we just started asking her about her lifestyle and how she's living it, why she's living it. And we just started to like get really interested in like her approach to life, because she was looking to live a free life, but it seemed like she was searching for the freedom outside of herself. Although she was onto some real like interesting stuff, because we asked her like, what was the question when you asked her about the emotions? I think it was like, we got into it and she was like,
I said, where do your feelings come from?
Yeah, where do you think your feelings come from? And she said, I don't like to live with emotions. And we both sort of looked at each other like, oh, that's a bit deep. But like she actually went on to explain, and I actually cracked a joke, but she actually went on to explain, saying like, oh, because I believe that like the emotions come from us, like we create them. So if I'm living without them, then I'm sort of living beyond the emotion. And that was some really interesting stuff. And then the conversation turned to like, you know, what's happiness? You know, what's the lifestyle you're trying to create? You know, how do you want to live your life? And we started asking her, like, you know, we were talking about this idea of peace, like living a peaceful life and just being it, and just being at peace and living through that. And she said something like, "Oh, I need more peace in my life. I want more peace. My life's not very peaceful." That's what she said. My life's not very peaceful. And then Sachin can pick up the conversation from there, because he was questioning her.
Oh yeah, so I asked her like, what would the difference be if you had peace compared to how you're living now? And she didn't really know how to answer the question, but I could tell the wheels were turning, right? Like something was happening. And I just asked her, if I could wave a magic wand and give you whatever you want from tomorrow, what would you have? Her first answer was peace, and then she paused, and then she said money. And I was talking to her about what would peace be for you, and she was like, she didn't really know how to answer, but I could tell she started to feel peaceful. So I said, "How do you feel now? How do you feel like peace?" And she said, she smiled, and then the mind kicked in and started hitting her with stuff again.
Then she said, "I don't know how I feel. I don't really feel anything," which is kind of, you know, what peace is, right? You don't really feel anything. It's a pleasant experience.
It's coming back to your natural state.
Yeah.
And that's where all of this kicked off from. So the state is zero. Before we add any of our human stuff to it, zero is where we're at. And then your mind can kick in and start giving you all the plus. So when I said to Alex, "I don't like this," he goes, "What's this I you're referring to? That's some plus shit." And I think that it's a fun way of saying stuff, and it's catchy and it sticks, but it's also pointing at the fundamental root of all of our needless suffering. The plus is the needless suffering. There's plus that's like enjoyable, you know. I like Doritos, or you like Arsenal. That's
a big plus.
They're optional. They're not at zero. What do you really need? Water, air, food, sleep.
That's it.
That, like, the other stuff is all plus. Like, I had this conversation with someone recently about money, and they were like, hey, look, Sachin, bills have gone up 53%. You know, what would you say to someone who wants to make money from their business now to compensate for that? And I just said, well, take care of that stuff first, then come to your business when you don't need anything. Because if you can operate from zero, you'll be way more powerful in the world rather than operating from some kind of plus, some kind of I need something. You know, and that's what we're seeing in our own journeys. This ain't we're sitting on the mountaintop. Look at us, we're pioneering the movement. Yeah, we're pioneering the fucking movement, but it's for us too.
Yeah.
How good is it for us?
Yeah. There was another interesting one that came up. Like we've had shisha like 2 or 3 times since we've been here, and we were sat. I think it was like the second time we had shisha, and Sachin was holding the pipe smoking, and every time that I have it and I'm smoking, he'll like reach his hand over to indicate that he wants the pipe. And then after like 20-30 minutes, he said to me, do you know what? You haven't once done that, like to ask for the pipe. And I said, yeah, because it's zero. Like for me, it doesn't make a difference if I'm smoking it or not. Like it doesn't, it's not better or worse. It's just is what it is. It's zero. Like wanting it is plus because it's wanting something different than what you're experiencing and what you're doing or how you're being right now. It's plus. And he was laughing. So I was like, you're all over this plus because you keep asking for it.
Yeah, and the same with I'm interested in this girl and I don't know, I'm not feeling the mutual interest. And that's plus, you know, like I want her to text me. I want her to be interested. I want this. Wanting it takes, I'm at zero. And then I've got this idea, this concept of what my life could be like. And I've entered plus. And now I'm in plus. There's stuff wrong. I need something. This means that's happening. Oh, this could happen in the future. What does this mean about me? There's all plus. Doesn't mean to at zero. None of that stuff means anything. It's all optional. And as soon as I can see it's optional, it's so much easier to drop it. That's what's happening this morning and last night. I'm not even considering it really. I'm not considering calling her or texting her. Then just leave it.
And here's the thing. Here's the conversation I always end up having with people. It's like, well, does it mean? And I've felt this as well. Like, does it mean that you don't ever want anything? And like, the answer is kind of yes and no. Like there isn't really the answer is zero. Like, do you know what I mean? If you want something because you feel like there's a desire to have it and it's going to improve your life or the situation that you're in, that's plus. Whereas if it's coming from a place of like, actually it's a preference, but it doesn't matter to me either way, like me with the shisha, yeah, it's a preference to smoke it, but it doesn't matter to me either way. That's coming from zero. So like if you're moving through life in a way where you are coming from zero and yeah, you have a preference to have stuff, you have a preference to do stuff, but it's not like you're doing them because you think they're going to add any more value than what you already have in this moment right now, then that's zero. And if you're doing it for the other way that you think they are going to add the value, it's plus because you're trying to add to the zero that you're at now. And that's when everything starts to get on that like chasing trail of like chasing after things to try and improve where you're at in life. And it's easy, like we all slip into it. Again, we're not sitting here on the mountaintop like, yeah, we're gurus. We're not. Like we all get caught out by the pluses. But it's like being aware of like what the plus is. Like the plus is always the thing that's taking you away from zero. The plus is anything that isn't now, the peace, the clarity, focused on the moment that's right in front of you. There's a brilliant saying, like when you're truly present, your mind and body are focused on the same thing at the same time. That's zero. Everything else is plus.
I really like that idea. You know, like someone said, oh, but this will improve my quality of life. So I want to have it. It could be anything. It could be like, I want to understand myself better so I can improve my quality of life. That's some big old fat plus shit right there, player. Like, I've had that with loads of things. And I'll probably have it with other stuff in the future. I don't know. But that's like a key misunderstanding that I have so many times. And I've seen it with so many other people. It's like, if I just get this promotion, if I have this girlfriend, if I get married, if I have children, if I don't get divorced, if I start my business, if I make 100 grand, if I whatever, right? There's so much of that, and it weighs you down. It's all really heavy plus style stuff, and I think there's a lot of benefit to having things, but like from a place of not needing it. You know, like if you make $100,000 or pounds, whatever your currency is, but you don't really need it, you can enjoy the stuff that you do with it more.
Yeah.
And it's not, again, this isn't about like, oh, I can enjoy it more if I don't need it, so I'm going to try and do that. It's like an effortless creation thing. Because I see it all the time. People will say to me, look, I need to make this much money in this amount of time. And they're just putting loads of pressure on themselves to do it. That's stacking pluses on top of each other, and it becomes heavy. And you collapse all that to zero. Well, are your basic needs taken care of? Yes. All right, well, then let's play from there.
Yeah.
It's like with kids. What do they need? What, a bit of attention. Even that, they don't care.
They don't need it. They need feeding and sleep, really.
Yeah, exactly.
The rest of the time, it's at zero. And even when they're feeding, it's because they're hungry. They don't eat like sometimes we eat in it because we think we're hungry. It's interesting. On Saturday, we didn't eat anything pretty much all day until we needed food and we were hungry. Whereas like every other day, we've probably been like, oh, let's go get that, let's go do that. And it's like, are we actually hungry, or is it just we're in the plus of feeling like we need the food?
Here's another thing, right? So on the topic of like, does it turn into you just don't need anything and like you become a robot? No, because think about it like this: if I know that I don't need anything, and I choose to do stuff from that place, it takes off a level of pressure. So like, let's go to a restaurant. If I need it to be a great food experience because that's what I'm doing here, that's what I'm paying for, that's what I want, it starts to stack expectations and meanings on stuff. But if I'm coming from zero and I'm like, yeah, I want to eat Italian food today, I mean, I'm opening the door up for plenty of surprise. I'm opening the door to have an experience rather than I'm coming from plus. And you better make sure that your food satisfies my plus expectation. And it's the same thing with like, I'm experiencing this now with relationships, where like romantic styles, you know, like meeting women and stuff. It was really important to me, and now it's just not. I'm like, oh, all right. It's just funny. Like, I still love women. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not that important. Because what is it gonna really do for me? Is sex? Is it going to change how I feel? No. It's fun to do it, but even that, like, it's not fun to do it if it's with the wrong person.
Yeah.
And as you know, I mean, I'm telling you a lot about that shit.
Yeah, it's funny. I had this conversation recently with someone, and we were talking about like, you know, reading the self-development books, listening to all like the podcasts and all of this, and they were saying like, oh, I feel like I'm just like, I'm taking on so much, and it's like they're doing it from a place that's like from plus, innit? It's like, I need this information, to help me, you know, better the life, or to change the situation I'm in, or change my mindset, or whatever it was. And it was all like looking outwards, it was all looking at the plus. And then I said to her like, well, if you felt like you didn't need to do any of that stuff, what would you do? She was like, oh, I'd probably just read a load of non-fiction. And then like gave me her favorite author, and I said, well, why don't you do that then? It sounds a lot more fun for you, like, because that's a preference for her. She doesn't feel like she needs to do it. It's a preference, and that's the difference between plus and zero. Plus is like, oh, I need this to improve my life, to help me, to make me better, etc., etc. But when you're coming from zero, none of that matters, because it's not true. It's not a reality. Like, you can't be better than zero. Plus looks very convincing that it can do that for you. But it doesn't. It never does.
And the concept of zero is that it's everything and nothing. Like even in mathematics here, you know, like when you have negative numbers, you can't minus anything from zero. You have to add -2. Or if you want zero to become -2, you have to add it to it. That's the thing. With zero, it's everything and nothing. Anything multiplied by zero becomes zero. So if someone's coming at me with some real harsh plus 15 energy, and they try and I don't meet them at plus 15, I just come from 0, it's quite hard for them to maintain that. You know, it's the same thing with the term self-development, right? Everything. Okay, you know, that's a bit extreme. I'm going to dial it back a little bit. Most things in self-development these days is about some plus heavy shit.
Mm.
You know, what do you see? Here's 10 affirmations you can do. Here's 5 ways to do this. Here's doing, learning.
Plus.
Yeah, learn more. Fucking, you're not good enough as you are, right? Oh, you want more confidence? Hey, here's what you can do. You know, it's about addition. And we're going the opposite way. This is revolutionizing and redefining what self-development is. What's this self you're referring to, player?
Who's the self you're trying to develop?
Yeah, because what is that? It's an idea we've got about ourselves. It's plus. It is literally the most plus thing you can get, right? So if I know that at 0 I'm whole and complete, I'm in my resting state of innate health, innate well-being, then anything else is plus, and it starts to look optional. That's a more powerful place for me to come from. When I say more powerful, I mean like I'm not taking anything away from myself, and I'm not adding anything. So I'm not trying to gain more confidence. I'm stripping back those ideas about myself and coming back to 0. When we said what's this self you're referring to, it's pointing us in the direction of where are you coming from? Are you coming from 0? Are you coming from plus?
I'll give you a really good example of this here. I was on a flight recently back from France. It was in September last year. And the whole way on the flight, I was sat in the window seat. Whole way on the flight, it was blue sky, sunny. Like I could feel the sun through the window, right? Second we crossed over the channel and got over the UK, there was a bed of clouds over the UK, right? When we landed, I think I landed at Luton, got off the plane, and it was cold and it was cloudy, right? But I knew that the blue sky and the sun and that warmth was above all of that. The clouds are plus. The blue sky and the sun, 0. Like they're always there. It's ever present. They're eternal. It doesn't change. What changes is the plus, the clouds, the rain, the snow, whatever. That's the temporary stuff. That's the passing stuff. And it's funny because I remember getting off the plane that day and walking through the day as if it was a really sunny day, because I knew that above the clouds, I knew what it looked like because I was up there looking at it 2 hours before, and it was sick. And it was a really amazing experience because it was like, actually, yeah, it's a really good reminder. Like, okay, that day was cloudy, but like that's plus because the sun's there. It hasn't gone anywhere.
That's the whole thing. We're like, what's this self you're referring to? Because the self is some changing thing, you know, like, oh, I'm getting to know myself better, or I'm getting a better idea of who I am. This stuff is unnecessary. It's like you know, if I ask you who are you today, it'll be different from 5 years from now. It'll be very different. For even 5 days, 5 hours, who knows? Like, depending on the changing plus outside of you, work, relationships, my mom, fucking like my dog, whatever, right? Like I can have different ideas about myself based on that stuff or based on the past. How do I feel about my past today? I feel like a victim of my past, so who I am is going to be based on that. You know, like, that's all very heavy in the plus. But if I'm coming from 0, which never changed, ever, since I've been a little kid, it's never changed, then 0 doesn't have a past. It's not a real thing, but we can use it as a point of reference. That's why, like, it's not that we're discouraging plus stuff, it's just being aware of it. What plus are you using and for what purpose? I like using my past as a point of reference. I'm Sachin, I have a name. That's plus. A name is definitely plus, but it's useful sometimes. You know, it's really useful. Having a business, it can be helpful. It can be useful. I can impact the world. I can do things. But it's only so helpful. It's like a t-shirt. I take my t-shirt off before I get in the shower. I'm pretty sure everyone does this. Pretty sure.
Hope so.
I hope so. Because a t-shirt is only so useful. The same with personality, identity, whatever else you want to call it. These things are only so useful, and I don't want to use a t-shirt in the shower. It doesn't make sense. Why would I want to do that? Well, a lot of us are wearing t-shirts in the shower of life, not realizing it. And that's why, some people have been wearing t-shirts since they were 6 years old and haven't taken them off, cutting off their circulation and shit.
Yeah, but that's what it is. That is when you think your personality's fixed. That's what you're doing. This stuff that's happened when I was 6 years old is fixed to me. You're wearing the t-shirt that you were wearing when you were 6 years old. It doesn't fit you anymore. It doesn't fit the purpose.
And it's starting to stink.
And it's cutting off your circulation, and it's becoming detrimental. Where at 0, you take the t-shirt off, and you can choose to put another one on, a different one.
And that's the thing. Like, I go to bed naked. Yeah, don't worry. I'm not going to take my clothes off right now. You have to pay extra for that.
That's on his OnlyFans.
Oh shit! I don't know why I said that. That really threw me off. Right. Anyway, I take my clothes off before I get in the shower, before I go to sleep. And the next day I get to decide, what am I going to take off? What am I going to wear? I'm wearing this beautiful red ensemble today, but if I was fixed to one t-shirt, I don't think I'd be able to wear this. I wouldn't have the option. And that's the power of coming from 0. You got options. Like, it's optional for me to latch onto this story about my new romantic interest isn't into me. And feeling certain types of ways about that. It's all plus. It's all optional. It's cool. Like, if I'm at 0, I can pick what I want this to be or not be. I don't want it to be anything, so it's not.
We are all 0. Everything else is optional.
We're, coming back to our natural state of innate well-being. That's what this 0 plus is pointing at. So we both coach people who have businesses. We both coach people who don't. We see this stuff so many times where it's like someone will want something based on what it would do for them or what it would mean about them or what would be different once they've got it. And that's another fundamental root of misunderstanding, because it can't mean anything about anyone. Money is the most common topic that I get asked about. And people say to me like, "Oh yeah, but if I could just do this, then this, and it's like, and I'll be happy when, or I'll be ready when, or that stuff."
It's plus.
Anything outside of here right now is all plus and doesn't really exist. If money made people feel things, then the happiest people in the world would be the wealthiest, and that's definitely not true.
Not in all the cases. Some cases, yeah, people are happy, but it's not the money that's making them happy. My dad said this to me. He goes, I was getting a bit gassed about making money because I'd never been able to do it before. And he was like, look, it's cool, yeah, you're making money, but just remember, that doesn't mean anything. And he was like pointing me back in the direction of 0. If you've got your health, you got happy, your family's cool, you got a roof over your head, you got clothes on your back, you got food to eat, that's happy. Like, that's his version of saying it. But he's getting at 0. What he's pointing me in the direction of is that stuff can't do anything for us. And that's what I really like about, bringing up myself back to 0. This isn't about, we want to forcibly change people's minds. It's like, look, if you've had enough of the traditional personal development shit, this is better. And when I say better, I'm not trying to diss anyone in it. I'm just saying, I don't want to do unnecessary work. I don't want to do affirmations. I don't want to have a fucking 5 a.m. morning routine. I woke up today at 10 a.m. after sleep. I slept like a baby. I really enjoyed that sleep, man. I woke up a few times at 6, 7, 8 o'clock. Just went back to sleep. It's not about addition. It's not about whipping myself into shape. Whoosh. Yeah, do more so you can be a 7-figure entrepreneur. I might not want that. Yeah.
I like free time. I like free time, as you know.
This is our free time right now.
Yeah.
What is time? Let's not get into that one. That's one for another day.
All right, cool. We'll get into that one next time. But this lifestyle of 0 plus is only for those of us who want less. This ain't about more. This ain't about you gotta be someone. This is the opposite. You're already enough as you are. You're already whole and complete. And this is what our lifestyle is about. We're going to be doing events. We're going to be having open Zoom rooms. We're going to be kicking this shit into a higher gear than you've ever seen anything ever. Like, we like doing this. We like talking to people. This isn't just, let's shout at the camera. This isn't, let's shout at the camera and hope something happens. We live this.
Yeah.
We spend time with people in this space every single day.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to create is a lifestyle that, you know, revolves around this, and people all over the world can connect with it.
Yeah.
It's going to be tremendous.
And here's the thing, like, don't take our word for it. Like, we'd love for you to try and experience it for yourself. Like, be it, live it. And if you don't agree, or if you've got some sort of thoughts that have come up for you whilst listening to this or watching this, let us know. Like, we'd love to hear what that is. Like, again, we're all about conversation. We're not here to just shout at the camera and the microphone. We want to hear what you think about this. Like, this is our lived experience over the last, few years, really, but we're formulating it into something a bit more understandable for people. But what do you think about it? Like, hit us up on Instagram, DM us. Like, let us know what your thoughts are on everything that we've just said. And then let's have a conversation about it, because that's what we're here for.
Yeah, we want open debate. We want open conversation. We want raw, honest conversation. Someone told me, look, Sachin, this zero thing doesn't work for me. I was like, yeah, why? And she goes, I want to have a past. I don't want to get rid of that. Then what would my life mean? That's a 2-hour conversation in itself, player. I'm going to tell you, what the fuck? An Instagram quote isn't going to fucking give you the answer to that. That's why we're doing all this. You know, open Zoom rooms so we can have these conversations, and then like other people can listen in if they don't want to talk. But that person in particular, I just said to them, if you weren't burdened by your past, then a lot of this stuff that you think is real about you wouldn't be. And that's the thing. We're not trying to push that on anyone, because a lot of people don't want it. But if this sounds like it is interesting to you, or you want to see what you can get out of it, jump into the conversation. It's free.
Even if you don't agree with it, even better, jump into the conversation. Let's talk about it.
And we're not trying to convince anyone of anything. We're just talking about our lived experience. That's why this is fun for us. If this was about getting somewhere, if there's about some plus shit, we wouldn't be doing it, would we?
True.
This is all for us. This is zero. Like we were saying this the other day. If the world eliminated the need for money, what would we be doing? We'd be talking to people and say, "We'll give you inner peace for an apple."
Yeah, it's true. That's what we'd be doing. That's it. Real shit.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the end of episode 1. Thanks for tuning in. Hit us up on Instagram at weare0plus, or at I'm Alex Manzi, Sachin's Insights. We got loads of content coming your way, and the first live event is going to be on. Should we tell everyone?
Yeah, drop it.
I was thinking, should we make it invite only? But no. If you've watched this, it means that...
It means you're invited.
There you go. If you made it this far, yeah, you're invited. On the 20th of May, Victoria Park in London at 6 p.m. We're going to be doing this, and we're giving out free water. So you got something to look forward to.
See you there.
All right, peace.